Hey, Jonathan Peters here. And if you're watching this video, you probably know me. And if you know me, you've probably heard that I'm also a ghostwriter, amongst other things, a ghostwriter. So my whole adult life, basically, I've ghostwritten different books. So to date, around 71, probably 71 different books, full books that I've fully ghostwritten. Edited dozens more, been involved in the layout and design of dozens more books, followed several books all the way through the publication and printing process. So I've been around this world of book production, book writing since the early 1990s when I ghost wrote my first book. So looking at all the different projects that I've been involved in, I'd say roughly 20% are on the technical side of things. So think manuals and so on. So I have the honor to have ghostwritten the command and control manual for a nuclear weapons plant that may or may not exist. Pretty interesting project. So around 20%. The rest is divided between two broad categories. So one is what I call legacy books. And so these are when people have a story that they want to other people to have hear, or towards the end of life, they want to make sure that they've had these incredible experiences, this incredible knowledge that they want to either expand beyond them or to outlive them. For instance, a current client of mine, he's 88 years old, tremendous man. He's of an age that he actually worked with Napoleon Hill when he was a young man. And so he's 80, turning 88, and his daughter's 14. So we're working on getting his knowledge for when she will actually care about it. Right now, she's just worried about being a teenager and going to high school and whatnot. So anyway, so that's about 40% legacy. And the other 40% has been for professional, let's say professional reasons. So people wanting to establish themselves as credible as authorities in their field. So, for instance, people who want to be speakers on the stage speaking, you're more likely to be taken as credible if you have a book. You say, well, I've actually written a book on this. And people say, well, if you've written a book, because author means authority. And so more likely doing that, or inside of the industry to if you've written a book, then you have some credibility inside of an industry. So like I said, about 40%, roughly 40% of the projects I've worked on there. And so I've seen how a book helps promote people in their profession. And that's what we're looking at here with this anthology book. So that's Sententia. What we want to do is the people who are in our community, in our tribe, if you will, so the people close in with us, to have a mechanism for them to establish themselves as credible inside of our field. But more importantly, is we want our people, our tribe, to be the recognized authorities when it comes to gamification, game-based learning. And so that we understand that we're the ones defining what it means, or the processes for gamification, so that those other people over there, they're just putting some Kahoot in, or throwing some points, badges, leaderboards, and for our tribe to be able to say, no, here's better ways of doing gamification and game-based learning. So what we're doing in 2025 is having this book, this anthology book, where we have authors from our tribe who are to help promote them, to establish them as experts in the field of learning and development. And if you're watching this, we've chosen you to be a part of this process. So thinking about you, could you benefit from being a published author? So think of your career path, where you want to be, how you want to position yourself in the marketplace. Could you benefit from being a published author? Let's say, are you at a stage where you're up against candidates who say they have gamification on their resume or on LinkedIn profile or something, but would you benefit if you actually wrote the book on gamification. And how about speaking at conferences? Is this something you would is a goal for you? Well, now you have a book, so first of all, that promotes you a little bit more in that space, but also you have a book to sell. So either through the conference may want to sell it through their bookstore, or you have people seeing you speak, and now they will also work with you. When it comes to wanting to take something with them, I call it taking an artifact away from the speaking engagement. People often want to buy a book so that they remember that experience with that speaker. So like I said, our goal is to establish our tribe as being credible and authorities inside of the L&D community, inside of the gamification space and the game-based learning. You might have some other goals in your career than just establishing credibility and authority. Maybe you're looking for more visibility. And so the great piece about anthology books is that your reach only goes so far, but you're going to be in a book where there's going to be chapters from some amazing people that have a greater reach. So for instance, Sententia's reach is probably much greater than yours. And so by being in a book with me and a book with Monica Cornetti, then you get that visibility that when people are reading our book or in our chapter, they see you. So maybe you would like more visibility inside of the L&D community. Maybe there's also even the advantages of working off of other people's promotions. So while we're promoting the book, you also have some advantages, not just visibility, but there be a little bit of financial compensation as we encourage sales of the book. Then you as an author will get a little piece of that. You're not going to get rich, but you'll have an advantage of being a part of any types of promotion that we're doing or the rest of the group is doing with this book. So there's many advantages. So for instance, inside of let me say first of all, so you say, well, what is an anthology? Let's start there. So an anthologies books are where we have different chapters from different authors. So in the scholarly world, the academic world, this is quite common. So here's the subject. Here are all these experts on the subject with their different chapters. And so if you've gone to grad school or something, you loved these because you can become an expert in a short period of time by reading one book. But in the professional space as well, they've been extremely popular, especially with big name authors like Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, even Tony Robbins. And so they would often have anthologies, and then you could have a chapter in a book with them, and then you could say, I co-wrote a book with Anthony Robbins, I co-wrote a book with Jack Canfield, and so on. And so that would give you more credibility because you're associated with him. Now, nobody inside of our book is going to be that level of star power, and it allows you to position yourself in the market because you are part of this recognized group of authors, recognized experts, and your chapter is there with them. All right, so how is this all going to work? Well, the good news is you get the easy part. We'll do all the hard work. All right, so when it comes to editing, review and editing and proofreading and cover design and book layout and formatting, shepherding it through the printing and the publication process and the distribution, we got all that covered. All you have to worry about is your chapter. And now you might be saying, oh, I don't know what I'm going to write about, what my subject will be. Well, we'll even help you with that, right? Because it's common amongst subject matter experts that we believe that everybody knows what we know, when in fact that's not the case. And especially for a book like this and the audience that we're wanting to reach, you're much more of an expert than our audience. So we're good at sitting down and brainstorming with you about how you might contribute, what might you offer to our target audience. So that could be Monica, that could be me. We'll help you with that process. And then getting actual words on paper and so on. Well, there's different routes to that. So for instance, everybody, all the authors, we will invite you to do a podcast with us early in the process and that podcast won't air till we're leading up to the publication to build interest in the book. So as we promote for the launch, then those podcasts will start being revealed. We can take the transcript from a podcast. There's many different ways that we can get words on paper. Can even use AI to get you started. Now, what we want to do is be really careful about our use of AI, because for this book we want a statement that says this is not AI written book. These are experts, these are credible people, these are authorities in the field, these are their thoughts, their ideas, their words. And AI can be a tool to get us started. So sure, help get in there, get with ChatGPT or whatever to get those ideas generating, and then let's go ahead and write off of the chat's recommendations. So there's many routes to help you get started. And all we want is, first of all, you'll get a really rough draft and then get it over to me. And then what I'll do is I'll coach you through the process. It's what I call unpacking. Usually when we write, because we assume everybody knows what we're saying and so on, we create it in this little box. And then my job is to help you unpack it. So then you'll take another rewrite to add it. And maybe we'll have one more back and forth as I start doing the deep edit on your chapter. And then that's it. So we'll get all the chapters together. The next piece that involves you is, once we see what are all the different chapters as a group, as a group of authors, we will vote on a title for this book. Right? So that's important there, because right now we don't have a title because we don't know what we have yet. So I'll put some ideas together. You'll make suggestions, and then as a group we'll vote on a title for this book. So we'll get that done here in about a month and a half, all of that piece. And then just so you know what happens after is, right away, once we see what it looks like, once we have a title, then I will reach out to our book cover designer, and so that we have an image of what the book will look like. So right away we can start doing some promotion. Even though we still have tons of work we need to do, let's get this promotion and anticipation building. So she'll create that for us, and then I'll begin the book layout piece. So I'll start the book layout, then we'll we're going to hire a cover designer, we're going to hire a proofreader when we get down towards the end, and so on. So that's the process that goes there. Now, so as you look at the page here, you'll see that we have two models, two programs, if you will. So we have the contributor, which is the main book. So this is how it's going to start is it's going to start with an introduction from Monica, chapter from me, and then we have the different chapters as we go through. So that's the main book that we'll be focusing on. And as we were discussing this process and what we're going through, it struck me that we have an opportunity. So each of us has different career paths, different things we're wanting to achieve, what professionally we want to achieve. And so a lot of the work, the hard work, goes into, first of all, writing the chapters and then the layout and design. Once that's done, modifications are relatively easy, okay? And so perhaps some of you, and maybe most of you or a lot of you, would like an opportunity to have your name on the cover. So right now, because there's a lot of us, we'll say Monica Cornetti, Jonathan Peters, and others. And then, of course, we'll see the others once we get inside and we see all the chapters in the table of contents or flip through the book. The others, there's lots of places where you'll be published as the author. So website, officially, I believe, on the Amazon piece, you'll be listed as an author, and so on. So there's lots of places, but there's not that much room on the cover. And so this is traditional with anthologies. So, well, actually, you would say et al. From the scholarly perspective, but we're going to be a little more creative than that. So the expert thing, as long as we're going through this process, maybe you would like your name and others, all right? So that's where the expert program comes in. So first of all, the cover I'll be working with is going to cost us a little extra, but I will work with the cover designer. So she'll give me the Photoshop version with that we still have all the layers in there, so it's easy to swap out the layer. So then your name would be up there as the author with Monica Cornetti, Jonathan Peters, and others all in one line crunched together. All right, so we can visualize the cover. Here's the author, and here's all these other words underneath. So Monica Cornetti, Jonathan Peters, and others. Same thing now is that what will happen, to be fair, what we're going to do is the order of the chapters will be by the typically, there might be some things, we'll change things around if these two chapters make sense together. But for the most part, what will happen is the first person who commits to this anthology, to be an author in this anthology, their chapter will come after mine. So their chapter will be chapter 2. The next person who signs up, that they would be chapter 3 or chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and so on as we commit. Well, what happens is you were like, oh, this is a good idea, but I got to wait till the first of the month to commit. And so now, I don't know, let's say 7 people have signed up, so now you're chapter 8. Well, with the expert model, what we can do is move you all the way up to the first chapter. Now, where the advantage is for you, you might say, yeah, so what? Most when you purchase a nonfiction book, most people do not read past page 16. Right? So it's different in the L&D field when someone purchases, and especially with an anthology, they're going to go through and find the chapters that are meaningful to them. And so, yes, for those of you like, oh my God, nobody's ever going to read my chapter. No, with an anthology, people are more likely, but when you look at a table of contents, you're going to start at the top and then your eyes are going to wander. You're not going to go boom, 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 all the way through these authors. So in the expert program, what we do is we move you up into that first slot. So Monica has the introduction, boom, you, then me, then everybody else, as it laid out in the order that it is in the main book. Mostly to save me time on the table of contents. It's always a pain in the butt when anytime you start moving chapters around, start adding pages with the table of contents. So name on the cover. Oh, I didn't talk about the back cover. So same thing on the back cover. You would have you, so your picture, your bio back there. You have Monica and I sharing below you. So this would be but roughly in the bottom half of the back of the book. We haven't seen what the book designer will put in there, but you would be featured on the back of the book as well. So let's see. So as an expert, what do you have? So on the cover, your main name, we've moved your title, moved your chapter up, and let me look at my notes, see what else before I go to the extra cool part. Oh, so this is a cool piece. So we need this book to be different from the other book. Okay, so your book, the expert book, so if you're in the program, your book with your name on it, it needs to be different in the system. So the main thing that we need you to do, which is a good thing, is to change the subtitle for sure. There's probably a possibility, I need to look at it, what about changing the title itself? There's some issues there because what if somebody buys your book and then buys the main book and then it realizes exactly the same? Would they feel ripped off? Would they do that? And then there might be some copyright issues that I still need to do some research. But we definitely need the subtitle changed because you are going to get your own ISBN for this, for your book. So in the catalog in the Library of Congress and when people are purchasing, this is a separate book. So even though the contents is pretty much the same, the order's different, it's a different version of the book. So in the other cool thing, which are mentioned in different places on this website, is when it comes to compensation. So in this video, I don't want to get too much into this, but if there's, let's say, 30 authors, any money that's generated, let's say from wholesale sales, so from cost to wholesale, that has to get, so Amazon buys the book at wholesale, let's say. So those profits will then get distributed across all of those people. What we do for the experts, though, to make it easy for you and easy on you, what we'll do is I'll do this process for you, is to get you through the publishing arm of Amazon. So Amazon will be the printer of your book, and how that will work is, first of all, they will assign you an ISBN, so it'll be an Amazon ISBN, which is kind of cool. Also, if someone searches your name because you'll want to create an author page, Amazon author page as well, then your book would come up. And so more importantly, that'll change out the listing, so it'll be separate. The best part of that is any sales on Amazon, the profits, they call it commissions, go to you. So in the case that the rest of us are going through, we get the gap between cost and wholesale when Amazon buys. The difference for you is that Amazon will give you a much greater percentage between cost and the sale and the retail value. So not to get too technical there, but certainly the monies that you'll be making from Amazon sales will be significantly more, and it should be for the extra money between the collaborator and the expert. You can see where that could easily get paid off, because any income gets directly deposited into your bank account. So it's easy, everything, and it's sitting over there however you want. It's your book, you promote it however you want. So that's the idea of the expert. Now, it's not a right or a wrong thing. It just depends what we're wanting, where we're going to be. So we have the collaborator model, which I've talked about. So that's going to be, we got this anthology. You're in an anthology. You're set. You're good. And you're golden. And you're a published author. And you can use all the credibility right there. And then we have the expert, which gives you some advantages, and so it's not a right or wrong thing. We're happy to work with you either way on those things. All that to say that to go back to why we're doing this. So an anthology, this is your fastest path to being a published author. You'll be a published author with other experts in the gamification sphere. You could take advantage of all the promotions that all the different authors are doing, and we have an opportunity to establish our community, our tribe, as the experts in gamification, game-based learning inside the L&D field. How we get there is really up to us, and we've made it so the hard work, the difficult work is on to us. I don't believe I mentioned, but this is key and important. There is a time pressure on us. We want this book to be available, to announce its publication, to launch it at GameCon in New Orleans in October 2025. So we need anybody that's committed. We don't have a lot of time to go back and forth on this. We need to get started and get going on this. So we're writing our chapters in April. We have the back and forth in May, so I can get started in June, so we can have our galleys by the end of the summer, reviewing and making sure that everything looks good, so that we have opportunities. All right. So like I said, we're doing the hard work, putting a lot of pressure on us to get this book, get it out there, get the word out as well. So questions you have, my email's right over there. I don't know which side it is on the website, but feel free to reach out to me in my emails, all your questions, especially if they're not on this webpage. And I'm really excited to be a part of this, working with you on this opportunity for you, for us, but more importantly, for the Sententia community, our tribe, our community, to establish that we are the experts in the field when it comes to gamification and game-based learning.